This is a racehorse with a pure and noble pedigree, but it is reduced to the fodder of the horse farm. He was small and thin, the opposite of the big and powerful champion racehorses, but the character is more untamed than them. Almost no one could conquer him. He not only eats a lot, but also likes to lie down on the grass. This is why he is considered a lazy horse by the horsemen. He is used to train other horses to increase confidence. He was finally sold for the lowest price of 2,000 renminbi. In a chance encounter, he met his match. In this golden age of horse racing, almost everyone has a passion for horse racing. The passionate pursuit of horse racing. Howard was a wealthy businessman who had been separated from his wife. He was on the verge of his second marriage, decided to enter the world of horse racing with a clean slate. He first found a special trainer. Tom is a calm and sensible man. He had a unique perspective on horses. He always said, "It's not the speed but the heart of the horse that counts. You need a horse that is not afraid to compete." He was the first to find Klaus. He saw right away the stubbornness in his heart and untapped talent. He's definitely a good horse, but his unforgiving personality. It was hard to find a good rider. One rider tried to try, but was torn straight to pieces. He walked away cursing. Tom looked at the Klaus in front of him, who kept getting mad. There was nothing he could do about it. He walked to the side. He saw a man being attacked by several people. This scene is surprisingly similar to Klaus. His name was Red. He was born into a wealthy family, but then came the economic crisis. The family was separated. In order to survive, he was forced to work at the bottom of the racing world, but this also inspired his talent in horse racing. His personality was as arrogant as Klaus. Tom found him afterwards. He just walked into the stable. He saw Klaus going crazy. He slowly went up to calm him down. He even fed him half an apple by hand. A man and a horse like each other, and so Klaus recognized the master. But the first test run was a failure. Although he was very fast, but he was running crookedly on the track. Tom said it was due to being overtrained. He had completely forgotten his natural instincts. Finally, advice was given. Let him learn how to be a horse again. Tom took him out into the field. Let him run as fast as he wants, until he stopped. At first it was just a normal run, and then he slowly showed his strength. He gets faster and faster and faster. Red couldn't help but praise him. The strong hooves of the horse, splashing mud in his wake, and that was just the beginning of a miracle for this pair. This is the most temperamental horse I've ever seen. The trainer gave him a lamb as a companion. He was thrown out immediately. Then the trainer brought in a filly. Klaus calmed down immediately. After a period of familiarization, they took Klaus to the stable for a test. For the first half of the race, Klaus looked uneventful. He didn't run as well as he should have. But soon Klaus noticed there was a horse running in front of him. He got excited and started to push. He easily overtook him, and his time for this lap broke the record for the entire stable. It was a great boost for the team. Shortly afterwards, Klaus entered the race. No one was sure of him before the race. The trainer had Reed to stay close to the gray favorite. Once Klaus identified him as a rival, he was going to pass him. But then the race went awry. Reed was pushed and nearly fell. This angered the man, who had spent many years in the black track. He caught up with the man and argued with him. He was finally overtaken by the gray favorite, losing the race. After the race, Reed was still furious. He argued with Tom. Howard stood by. He only left one comment. "What are you angry about?" After a night of contemplation, the next day he made his attitude clear to Howard, and Howard accepted him back. Soon after, Reed and Klaus were making their mark on the game. This made them famous. They gained a lot of fans. The winning streak was so great that Howard became overwhelmed. He started taking the Klauses around with him, but Tom stopped him in time, because in Tom's mind, Klaus wasn't really powerful at the moment. The real power was a horse named Warlord. He was big and strong. He had won many championships. He was perfect. Only by defeating him, Klaus is the only real victory. Then Howard went on the air to give the warrior a call to arms. But the master of the warrior, he didn't think much of the small Klaus, and he taunted, not even in the same league. Howard had to find the owner of the racetrack to hold a big money race. The winner will get 100,000 prize money. This attracted many famous horses, but there was no warrior. Howard understood. The winner of the tournament, the owner of the general, will have no reason to resist. Klaus is getting stronger and stronger. He was in the lead. Just when Reed thought he had the race in the bag, a horse came from his right, and the race was fixed at that moment. They lost by a hair's breadth. They later learned that Reed's right eye had been blinded by a black boxing injury. This led Tom to believe that he was a fraudulent rider. The media also criticized Reed for this, but Howard stepped up to the plate. Not only did he defend him and let him continue to ride for Klaus, but without this opportunity, how to challenge the war general? This man actually took a horse to speak around the country, using Klaus' childhood adversity to encourage people to create a cannon, and his only goal was to get the war general to fight. This tactic soon worked. The warlord's master couldn't stand the pressure of public opinion. The challenge was accepted, but when they watched the warlord's training, they felt a lot of pressure. So at night, Klaus started a secret training. The big fight was just around the corner when the unexpected happened. The famous Reed was commissioned by an old friend to show a horse, but unexpectedly the horse was frightened by the outside world. Reed falls off the horse. He is dragged along the way, finally hit the wall before stopping. His right leg was shattered and broken. Even after the surgery, can only walk and can no longer ride a horse. This accident made Howard overwhelmed. He wanted to cancel the race, but Red wouldn't let him. He recommended another good rider, George. He trained Klaus in his place. Before the race, He gave George some tips to let the warrior take the lead before the sprint. As soon as Klaus was sure of it, let him run on his own. You can't lose. The real race finally started. Klaus was leading the race. George slows down before the turn. The warrior takes advantage of the momentum. The two horses are neck and neck, and Klaus saw the oncoming warrior. George knows he's got a chance. He lets go. The enraged Klaus, and he was off like an arrow. He left the general far behind. The distance was getting farther and farther. He's won. The excitement ignites everyone in the room. Klaus and George enjoyed the glory, but a sudden turn of events changed all that. Klaus competed as usual, but on the way to the race, he unexpectedly hissed in pain. The vet came and diagnosed him that he had torn all his ligaments. It was fixed, but he was lame. This was almost the end of his racing career. But even so, the team didn't give up on him. They sent Klaus to Reed, who was recovering from his injuries on the farm. Reed rushed over to him with his crutches, tenderly soothing him. One man and one horse were so similar. Since then, Red gave Klaus a leg massage every day. When the weather was nice, he would take him for a walk. He would also read a book on it. And so the days went by. He found the housekeeper. He asked him to help him clear a track under the tree. He cleared out a track. The long journey of recovery began. After much care and attention, Klaus' injury was fully recovered. He was able to return to racing, and his rider was Reed, who was going to ride despite the danger. This could have led to his permanent disability. Luckily, his best friend told Howard, "It's better to break a man's leg than to break his dream." Soon the game began. For the first half of the race, Klaus was left far behind. It was thought that this injured horse wouldn't be able to perform any more miracles, and that's when George came along. He knew what Klaus really needed. Klaus's competitive spirit was once again aroused. He rose to the occasion, passing one rival after another. After an almost perfect sprint, once again, Klaus crossed the finish line first. Since the release of this film has inspired countless disillusioned people, success is not something that doesn't come, but after all the trials and tribulations have been gone through, it will only come to you in a big way.